Hey everybody, welcome to another episode. Today I'm going to try to go to 3 different places in Kalihi and do another underrated Kalihi places to eat. I'm not going to say they're plate lunches because not all of them are. So the first stop we're at is the Old Saimin House, and if you look across the other way, across King Street, there's the famous Palace Saimin. So we're going to go check out the other place across the street that nobody really talks about as much as Palace Saimin, but is just as good. And if you're ever, waiting for some Saimin and Palace is too crowded, you can always go across the street and go to the Old Saimin House. I just want to say too, where I parked is off of Kohu Street, I think Kohu? Yeah, Kohu. And I'm pretty much in the sketchy ghetto, but things like that don't bother me. So we'll be eating over here on the side street next to this abandoned bus and see what this is about. All right, so a little bit of facts about the Old Saimin House. It has been there since 1963, I believe, and it was opened up by an Okinawan family, which is the same as Palace Saimin. They were also an Okinawan family. And gotta grab this, sorry. And still to this day, their family is running it. So they are right across the street, like I said, from Palace Saimin. And they do old school Saimin. And looking at it, you've got the nice wontons and the char siu in there with the green onion and your noodles. And I poured my soup in, and so this is what it looks like. So it seems like the noodles are on the bottom. So let's take a taste of the wonton first. This is the wonton, and the soup is piping hot, and it looks like a very nice broth. It is super hot. The wontons are hot inside. It's not cold. It's got a nice little ball of meat inside. Usually it's pork. The wonton wrapper is nice and silky and gentle, not too thick. Good flavor. Old Saimin House is known to use a shrimp-based broth. So they use shrimp shells and boil it down for their dashi. So this is the noodles. I heard they use different noodles. Before they used to use Eagle noodles, an article said, but Eagle Noodle Factory shut down. So I don't know where they get their noodles from. I should have asked, I forgot. But they don't look like Sun noodles. They're a little bit paler in color. This one's definitely a little bit thicker in noodle gauge, but has a nice al dente chew to it, which I like. I don't really like my noodles too soggy, so it's a good thing. It coats the broth really well. It's a very, very subtle flavor, not too strong, but definitely has taste. And when you combine it together with the char siu that's in here, the little slices of meat and the green onion, it's super yummy. I mean, you can't complain. Let's try the broth now. Nice and hot with the green onion is so good. I'm not a fan of dashis that are very fishy or shrimpy. I just want the right amount of it. And this is definitely not as shrimpy or fishy as some people have described on Yelp. Because that would turn me off, but this is perfect. It's delicious. It's a very nice, deep, clear, clean broth. It can go so well with the wontons and the noodles. And the green onion and char siu just give it that extra kick. I mean, so good. It really gives you that old school Hanabata days, just nice nostalgic feeling when you eat this. I will say the char siu is not as sweet as I'm used to, but it's still good and meaty and not too fatty. They put a little bit of fat on there, but it's not just the fatty junk portions. And folks, if you're wondering, this is a small, so pretty big to me, but very filling, and I'm pretty satisfied. This was pretty good. And even though I call it underrated, it's been there forever in Kalihi. I always seen it. It's right next to diners in that same shopping plaza. It has stood the test of time as well, but nobody really talks about it. Everybody always talks about Palace Saimin, and that's why I wanted to bring to light. If you've never heard of the Old Saimin House, definitely give it a go. I think it's great and just underrated. Nobody just talks about it as much, and I think they should earn more respect and more, you know, media coverage or just word of mouth. So definitely try it out. Next, we'll go to this barbecue stick in this cute little bag and foil, still hot. So whatever method they're using is great because it's keeping this takeout hot. So if you're not from Hawaii, usually when you eat saimin, it usually comes with a barbecue stick. And their barbecue sticks are not known for the teriyaki sweetness. It's more of a salt-based soy. So we'll give this one a go. Here it is. It's got a lot of juice in the foil, nice and juicy. Really thick cut to meat, but it's tender. It's just a really big bite is all, but very tender. It's not like a chewy, hard piece of meat. And like I said, it's known for more of a salt-based type of barbecue stick. It's not teriyaki like Palace Saimin or other places, but it's got a nice char on it, nice char flavor. Can't go wrong. This goes so well with saimin. So finally, we have our Okinawan fried soba, which is their version of like a fried noodle. Okinawan soba is a little bit thicker of a noodle, so we'll try it out. It's got stir-fried cabbage in it, some kamuboku, which is fish cake, and spam. Looks like a little green onion too. Nice flavor, definitely an Okinawan flavor, more of a soy base, not too sweet. It's still got some of a kind of a dashi flavor as well mixed in with that soy. Nice flavor with the spam and the green onion, and I like the chew of the noodle. The noodle has a different kind of chew, like I said, but it's so nice and al dente. And it coats the soy base really nice. I just like the texture of it. The fried cabbage gives it a nice crunch and like a texture contrast, and just as a local palate, the spam just gives it that nice, yummy flavor when you bite into it. This thing is so huge, look, my head, that you could definitely share it with somebody. So when you order it, I would do it family style, and you can share it with each other with your saimin. So even though it's a little bit pricier, it is definitely a big portion for the fried noodles. And I like the little packaging in it. It's really nice, and it's, even though it's biodegradable, it must have wax underneath because nothing's leaking and it's not sticking, the noodles aren't sticking to the paper at all. So good packaging, and it's still keeping it hot. Okay, so that's pretty much my first stop, the Old Saimin House. I would say the cons would be definitely the parking. If it's a dinner time or prime time, lunchtime, that parking lot can get packed and the stalls are really thin. So if you're uncomfortable parking next to someone so close with an SUV like I do, you're kind of gonna have to find street parking around it, which is also hard during like business hours. But I found a spot, and it's dinner time, so I mean, you can find a spot. You just have to be patient. Also, make sure you pay attention to their hours because they're open from lunch. Then they close a little bit between lunch and dinner. So don't go between lunch and dinner. Just check out their hours. I'll put it in my description because you don't want to drive all the way there for nothing. Then they reopen again at 5 p.m. for dinner until closing. So for the small wonton min, it's $7. And for the barbecue sticks, each one is $2.95. And for the fried Okinawan soba noodles, it is $9.95. I also got an old school drink to go with my saimin. So they have the old school drinks that you would expect in an old-timey Hawaii saimin joint. So they have regular soft drinks such as Coke and Sprite and etc. But they also have the Diamond Head Strawberry and the Passion Orange that I got. So definitely go check them out, and we'll head to our next stop. Hey, what's up? So our next stop is Penny's Drive-In. It's located off of Sand Island Access Road, right when you enter Sand Island. If you're entering from the Nimitz side going into Sand Island, it's on your left-hand side next to the Napa and the subway. There's parking in the front, so you can usually find parking. And it's a small little hole in the wall that, unless you come on to this side of Kalihi Kai area, you wouldn't probably know of it. A lot of truckers come here to eat on their way back and forth from maybe the Matson docks and all that, or whoever works on the industrial side here. They're known for their massive plates, and you can get a mini too. So I got their 2-choice plate to get the maximum taste of everything they have to offer. They have all kind of local stuff. Beef stew they're famous for. They have chicken katsu, the beef curry stew, and roast pork, all that kind of stuff. So I got their roast pork, which most people like, and their famous beef stew. And if you look at this plate, it is freaking massive. Look at this. It's like overflowing with food. So very generous. Service is friendly. And most of the food is already made. Not saying it's not fresh. It's just the kind that's in one pot. It's still hot. So if you're in a rush, it's fast to get all your food. So we'll take a taste of this beef stew. We see some chunky potatoes, lots of, I see the beef here. So take a taste of this right now. That's some good beef stew. Really nice tomato. The way a Hawaiian beef stew is compared to mainland beef stew, which is kind of more gravy-like. This has a nice tomato taste, but not too acidic. The beef just melts in your mouth. So good. Let's try this potato. And all the rice is hidden underneath. So with the rice, it's so good. And they're known for their pickled onions, which makes it unique because you don't get that with other people's plate lunches. So it's so good with the rice and the beef stew. Still has a crunch. Nice flavor. Pickled good, but not too sour. Not too much vinegar. It's just like a right balance of salty and the sour vinegar. That's a really good pickled onion for sure. If you step inside, it's super tiny. It's very quaint and cute. And I like all the decorations. It's very homey. And I don't know, it gives it like a humble, homey vibe. I don't know how to describe it, but just a local mom and pop shop. And if you don't know their story, just check out their website, which I'll put in the description below. It tells you the story of Penny's, where this lady, I'm assuming lady, who opened this drive-in, and it's still run by her family, always had beef stew on Fridays because her dad would take home leftover steak. He used to peddle, I guess, the meat. And so that's why she's really good at making beef stew. And for sure she is. This is bomb. But I guess after going through school, college, etc., moving away for a little bit and coming back home, she decided to open up Penny's Drive-In. First started off as a lunch truck. They've been around since 1965, so definitely another one, another gem that has stood the test of time, pumping out some great food. So definitely give them a try if you're in the Kalihi Kai, Sand Island area. Okay, let's try this roast pork. It's super juicy, looks like lots of nice gravy on there to soak up the rice too. It doesn't look dry at all. Nice and moist. A good amount of salt. It's kind of salty on its own, but when you mix it with the rice, that would be perfect. And with the onion too. Definitely just falls apart in your mouth, the roast pork. It's not tough or dry or anything like that. Roast pork kind of has a consistency, not the flavor, I'm saying consistency of like kalua pig, where it just is kind of shredded, but still stays in these chunks and just falls apart in your mouth. You don't even need any effort to chew it. Very tender meat. Okay, let's take a taste of the mac salad. I always say I'm not a fan of mac salad, but I try to put myself in other people's shoes that like it. This one has a tinge of sweetness to it. It's not heavy on the mayo, which is nice. The pasta's cooked perfectly. It's not too soft, but not too hard. Not quite al dente, but just kind of perfect, actually. Good texture. It's got a little bit of shredded carrot in it, and yeah, it's pretty straightforward and simple. And I don't know if they listened to me, but the lady at the front recognized who I was. But I have said many times, I don't like carrots, but they didn't put any carrots in my beef stew, which is awesome, because I see in other people's pictures at Yelp, they put the big chunks of carrots. So if you like carrots, they'll give you big chunks, as big as these potatoes, but I got extra potatoes instead. So thank you very much for not putting carrots in my stew, because I would just waste them and throw them away. But lots of meat. I think it's generously proportioned with lots of stew meat. Sometimes you get skimped out on, and you get just lots of vegetables and junk stuff like the carrots and like maybe 3 pieces of meat. But I think I ate like 3 pieces of meat, and I still have like 3 or 4 chunks more to go, and lots of rice to soak up that great sauce. So I think this is my favorite out of it, even though the roast pork is good. The stew is just delicious. And even with the roast pork, with the gravy on the rice, with the onion, can't go wrong. So that's my showcase of place number 2, Penny's Drive-In off of Sand Island Access Road, going into Sand Island. They have so many different choices to have for local plate lunches. Definitely a must try. It's underrated to me, because unless you're in the area, like I said, you probably haven't heard of it. But it's been here, like I said, forever, since 1965. So obviously they're doing something right, because they've been here so long. And just generous, massive plates of food. So for the 2-choice plate, I believe it was $11.95. You get 2 choices off their menu, massive amounts of rice, mac salad, and I mean, it is overflowing with food, so you can't go wrong with the pickled onions. The interesting thing is you can get a 3-choice for the same price. I guess they just make it at smaller portions, but you can taste a lot off the menu if you want. They also do breakfast. They're famous for their fried rice and everything like that. Just take note of their hours though. They open really early at 5 a.m. and close early at 2:30 p.m. So they're mainly here to cater to the workers over here. They're closed on the weekends. And also take note, it is cash only. They do not do credit cards or debit cards. And yeah, this is just a little cozy mom and pop plate lunch place that you definitely should stop by and taste their beef stew. It's good comfort food, good local food, great, happy, friendly service from the ladies, and what more can you ask for? So definitely check out Penny's. That's my number 2 underrated spot in Kalihi for my second video of underrated places. Let's go check out number 3, our last spot. All right, we're at our last stop, and it's either a place you know. It's kind of weird, because I would say it's underrated, as in if you're not from the area or if you're not in the know, you probably never even heard of this place, but they do have a very good following. Sometimes the line can go out the door because it's such a tiny spot, but it's Monarch Seafood. It's located on the corner of Kalihi Street and Colburn Street, and it's hard to find because if you're not familiar, if you go on Kalihi Street near Dillingham, it's across the old Bank of Hawaii, which is now demolished. So everything's street parking. That's the only con about this place. If you're coming at peak lunch hour with all the parking, with all the other industrial businesses, it's very hard because they don't have a parking lot. But they specialize in seafood plate lunches and poke. So we're going to start off with their poke. I really wanted their dry aku poke, but they didn't have it today. So we're going to go with the limu ahi. And you can see a lot of green onion in there, some finely chopped limu, and it's in a soy base, it seems. You can tell the fish is super fresh, good texture of the fish, no grizzly weird parts. And I heard that they make it in small batches. So as it runs out, they keep making it, so it's not just sitting there in the big pan. So you always get fresh fish. I'm not really a fan of shoyu-based
pokés, but this one's not too salty and not too overwhelming to me. It's got a nice, good salt seasoning. I'm also not a fan of too much sesame seed oil. This has a little bit of it, a tinge, which is really nice. And it's not too overwhelming as well, which I like. And you can tell they keep their poke at a very good temperature in their fridge because it is super chilled and nice and cold, very refreshing on a hot summer day. And like any other fish poke store in Hawaii, you go by the pound. So I got a half a pound. So you can up it if you want, a pound, or if you're really, really not hungry. I'm not sure if they do it, but sometimes some places do quarter pound. The thing I got from them was their famous plate lunch that everybody likes. They have other options as well, but this is their go-to, is their stuffed crab ahi. And you have a choice with all their plate lunches to get a nalo green salad, a regular tossed salad, or their potato salad. So that's interesting. They don't have mac salad, they have a potato mac. So I'm not, like I said, a mac salad person. I always tend to get salad if you give me that choice. So I got their nalo greens. You don't get to choose their dressing, it just comes with their dressing, but it's good. And it's pretty much, if you're wondering what the stuffed ahi is, it's a panko crusted piece of ahi, and they stuff it with some crab. So this is the piece of ahi without me spilling it in my car. Looks nice and crunchy. They drizzle it with their aioli. And let's take a taste. So good. And if you're wondering what the black thing is in the middle, it's wrapped with nori, which is the Japanese seaweed, the same seaweed that you use for sushi. And their aioli is so good, it's got a little tinge of wasabi in there, so it has that nice kick. Super crispy, love the panko crust. And the filling makes it really nice and moist and not dry. Try out their salad. Nice fresh baby greens. Love their dressing too. You got a hint of wasabi in there as well. So the only con I have about this is I wish they put more dressing or give you a side of their aioli, but you can dip or put some of the dressing on your ahi, and it's good. But yeah, I really like the salad. It's very fresh. They give you a big piece of tomato. Love the dressing. So if you're not into mac salad, this is a nice healthy side choice. I'm glad that they're nalo greens and they're supporting local and buying from farms from nalo. But yeah, everything in this plate lunch is winners. You can't go wrong if you love fish. The stuffing in the crab is flavorful. It seems like it's imitation crab, but it's okay because it has a good texture, good taste to it. And the panko crust is fried perfectly. The ahi's not too overcooked. I wouldn't say it's raw in the middle or medium rare. It's fully cooked. So if you're not into raw fish, you don't have to worry about it. It's fully cooked fish. Great taste, can't go wrong. Oh, I forgot too. They do have chili pepper water, which is a rarity in a poke place. Sometimes they don't give it to you, but they offered me some, and I love chili pepper water, so I put it in my poke. If you like a little spice, try it out if you're not familiar. And the hours are kind of hard. If you're working and you have a regular schedule, they only open from 10 a.m. and they close at 1:30 p.m. So the good thing though is if you're really interested in trying this place, they are open on Saturdays, same hours. So if you're off on the weekend, you can come over here, and I'm sure parking's a little bit better probably on the week and on Saturday because some of the businesses here are closed. So you can find parking here or on the side street. So this one is a little bit underrated, like I said, because if you haven't heard of it, you probably wouldn't even know it was there because they don't really have a sign. They used to have a sign up there that said Monarch Seafood, but they took it down. It is a very, very tiny place, so I couldn't really film much of it. As you can see, there's pretty much, that's what it is. It's a counter, it's an open kitchen. You can see them cooking or putting together your plate, and just the fish refrigerator where you can pick your fish, and a refrigerator in the back with drinks. Very, very tiny, so when the line does get long, it can kind of get tedious because you're going to have to wait outside. Come early. I came right at opening. I called it in and it was ready. The plus side is they will ask you if you're getting a fried item such as me, where you're coming from or how long you're going to take, so that way they can kind of time it so it's not getting soggy, so it's still crispy. And so yeah, everything's great. The service was friendly, and everything is so sparkling clean in there, and it just has that clean feeling. So you'll definitely be confident about getting your food there. So we'll go over the price. The stuffed ahi plate lunch is $11.95, which isn't bad considering it's seafood, and it's a pretty good portion. The poke was $10.04 for a half pound, a little pricey, but the fish prices go up. It goes with the market price of the ahi of the day. So definitely a great deal if you're looking for a little bit more of a classy plate lunch, or you're just craving some seafood. Definitely check out Monarch Seafood. So yeah, that pretty much sums up my underrated Kalihi restaurants part 2. I think I have probably some other ones in mind that could probably make 2 more videos, but I probably won't make it for a while because I'm not going to eat like 3 plate lunches in 1 week. Otherwise I'd explode and get fat. So I probably will do it maybe in a couple months or so, the third part to it. But yeah, there's tons of restaurants here in the Kalihi area, some that some people don't know, and I'd like to give them some exposure if you haven't heard of them. So go check them out if you have time. If you're interested in one of them, definitely give them your business and support local. I'll see you again next time. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and thanks for supporting me and watching my videos. Press the like button and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you again next time on another food adventure. Peace out.